Hello, my name is Nick Davis. I'm a realtor with RE/MAX Premier Group and I live and work here in the Tampa Bay area. Today, we're going to talk about what used to be considered a very dirty word in the real estate and mortgage business. It's called forbearance. Now, I know you've probably heard a lot about forbearance, and it's in the news. It's the talk of the mortgage industry with our current situation and everything that's going on. Forbearance has kind of changed a little bit. So let's start off by defining what forbearance is. Forbearance is a temporary postponement of your mortgage payments. It is a form of relief granted by the lender or mortgage provider in lieu of forcing a property into foreclosure. Now, in the past, let's say you had a 90-day forbearance program and your monthly mortgage payment was $2,000 a month. And I'm going to use very, very simple numbers just because easy math. So if I had a 90-day forbearance program granted by my lender, I would not make a mortgage payment for 90 days. At the end of those 90 days, I would owe the bank $6,000, which would be the $2,000 a month mortgage payment times 3 months. Now, if you're in a financial hardship like a lot of people are today, coming up with $2,000 is hard. How are you going to come up with $6,000 in 90 days? And that's why we're going to talk about forbearance today and why it could be something that you may want to consider. Is a forbearance option something that's going to be good for you? Is the issue you're having a short term? Is it long term? Is it catastrophic? Can it be resolved? Well, only you can answer those questions. Now, I know it's probably pretty scary trying to figure out how you're going to make payments with everything that's going on. But I'm telling you, call your bank. Call your mortgage provider. Call them. They are there. Yes, you may be on the phone for a little bit of time, and that's something you should be prepared for because the banks are inundated with people just like you that may be in a tough situation. So be patient and try to remain calm. And I know it's hard. So what I did in preparation for this video was last week, I actually called my mortgage company because on our online banking, there was a notice that said, 90-day forbearance program. And like you, I remember what forbearance was. And so I was like, oh my God, no, there's no way, nobody's going to want to do this. But there was an article in the Florida Association of Realtors about the extended relief under the CARES Act for those affected by COVID-19. And I actually have this little circular right here. And my mortgage is actually a VA loan. As most of you know, Cindy and I are both retired from the Army, so we did a VA loan when we purchased our home. And this circular 2620-12 covers VA loans, FHA loans, USDA loans, and any mortgage that is backed by Fannie and Freddie Mac. And so I was looking at this. I actually got a copy of this by calling the VA. And you may have to do this because when I called the bank after reading the article, which actually states that these types of mortgages, you can get up to 1 year of no payments. And you can say, oh my God, I don't have to make a mortgage payment for a year. Well, what happens is the mortgage kind of stops and it gets put to the back end of your mortgage. So let's say you had 180 payments left and you didn't make a mortgage payment for 1 year. When you start back up, you still owe 180 payments. So it's kind of like putting your mortgage on pause. Now, one of the things when I called Wells Fargo for the research for this video, the first time I called, the woman I spoke to said, oh no, all we have is 90 days. And it's the forbearance. It's the normal, you would owe 3 months worth of payments at the end of the 90 days. Then I called the VA. because I was like, okay, that's not what this is saying. So I called the VA, got a copy of this circular, which lays it out. And it actually says the borrower, not the servicer, meaning me, not Wells Fargo, is entitled to determine the period of the forbearance subject to the statutory limit of up to 360 days. So what happened was next, I called back to Wells Fargo. And fortunately, this time I got somebody who knew a little bit more. And so what they explained to me with Wells Fargo, this is Wells Fargo only, every lender is going to be different. And that's why I'm saying is you got to call the lender and talk with them, especially if you're having financial difficulties. So when I was speaking with this second woman, she said, oh no, we're only doing 90 days at a time. But she said, we have in writing that, it's based upon the type of mortgage. And since your loan is a VA loan, you are entitled to up to 360 days of forbearance. So I was like, okay. And she said, well, do you want to start right now? I can start it right now. And I said, well, no. And didn't want to tell her I was just doing research. I said, my wife's not around and I'll have to speak with her and get back with you. But I wanted to kind of do that research and kind of be able to share with you my experience. And yes, it can be frustrating, but like I said, if you have one of those federally backed mortgages, you can actually contact that entity directly and see what they're actually saying. Because again, like I said, this circular says it's up to me, the borrower, not my servicer, which would be my mortgage company. It's up to me to determine. Now, I will share, the second woman that I spoke with at Wells Fargo was very, very knowledgeable. And she actually even went as far as to say to me, she said, yes, you don't need to make a mortgage payment. She said, one thing you should consider doing is making your tax payment and your insurance payment. She said you will have to call in to the bank or to Wells Fargo because it's going to be a partial payment. So let's just say that your tax portion of your mortgage payment is $200 and your insurance portion of your mortgage payment is $100. You should make at least a $300 a month payment, because remember, if you're escrowing taxes and insurance, they're still going to be due. And let's say, like for us, we purchased our home in August. So in August of 2020, Wells Fargo would go ahead and make my insurance payment, and there would be money in there because I've been making payments. And now let's say I've stopped making those payments. Well, no more money is going in. So Wells Fargo could actually pay my insurance payment. But come November, if I'm not making my portion of the taxes and insurance, there's not going to be enough money in my escrow account to make that tax payment. So it would behoove you, and I'm definitely encouraging you at least to do this portion, is make that partial payment. Figure out, you can call your lender. The woman that I spoke with was very knowledgeable. She actually said, this is what your minimum payment or your partial payment would be, because she looked on my my mortgage and said, this portion is your taxes and this is your insurance. And then she actually probably used a calculator and totaled them up and said, this is what you should pay. And I was like, okay, thank you very much. Like I said, the lender is there to help you. They don't want you not to make a payment. They don't want to foreclose on you. And back in the mortgage crisis, back in 2008, during the short sales, where 62% of our sales here in the Tampa Bay area were distressed, 7 out of 10 homes that were foreclosed on never went on the market as a short sale, because the homeowner was afraid to call the bank, ashamed, I'm not sure what, but 7 out of 10 homes could have been resolved with a short sale. And I think that this problem, the COVID-19 pandemic, is going to cause a bigger, it could, I'm not saying it is, but it could be even larger than the mortgage crisis of 2008, because it's affected. I think the last word I heard over the weekend, and don't quote me on this because this is Monday morning, was over 25 million Americans are unemployed. So that's huge. And so, like I said, contact your lender. What do I do? Where do I go? Well, again, start off calling your mortgage provider. Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, whoever you make your mortgage payments out to. Now, internet's a great thing, but there's a website called consumerfinance.gov. I'm actually going to put a link in the description to the coronavirus mortgage relief options in the description here for you. But don't go to Billy Bob's blog. Stay with your mortgage provider or a government site. And you want to make sure it is a government site, because there's a lot of scams out there, and that's where I'm going into next. What to look out for, because bad times bring out bad people. Your first indicator that you're probably being scammed is they want an upfront fee to do this work for you. But like I told you earlier, I just called Wells Fargo. I called my lender. I called the VA because they are the actual investor who holds my mortgage, and Wells Fargo just services it. And there's no fee for this. So if there's any upfront fees, it's a scam. Anyone who promises you that they're going to get you a loan modification, nobody can promise you that you're going to get a loan modification. And this forbearance option is totally different from what it used to be in the past. They ask you to sign over the title of your property. Well, what you're doing is you're actually giving them ownership of your home, but you're still responsible for the mortgage, asking you to sign papers you don't understand. And the woman I spoke to at Wells Fargo said, on your online banking, there's actually a way that you could start this right now, and it's just a few clicks with your mouse. And there were no documents to sign. There was nothing. I literally would have just had to click, yes, I agree, and, next, and boom, I was done. So asking you to sign papers you don't understand, clear sign it's a scam. Tell you to make payments to someone else other than your mortgage provider. Like, let's just say they say, make your payments to Mortgage Relief 101 2020 instead of Wells Fargo. Well, now you're sending your payments to somebody else. That's not a good thing to do. Telling you to stop making your mortgage payments altogether. Again, you're not even talking with your lender. So only your lender or the investor who secured your mortgage, like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the VA, USDA, those are the people that you need to talk to, not just Billy Bob over there on the corner. If they start asking you for credit card information, bank numbers, and say that they're going to make payments to your accounts, another indicator. Watch out, hang up the phone, don't call back, block their number, do whatever you need to do. All right, I know that was a lot and it was pretty fast. I was trying to get this information out to you guys, and I know it's been a while since we've made a video or added a video to our YouTube channel other than new homes we put on the market. But if you found this information helpful, do me a favor. Go ahead and click the subscribe button with notifications turned on. This way, anytime we make a new video, you'll be notified immediately. And as always, if you need to reach me, you can call me on my cell phone, 813-300-7116. I'm here to help you. Team Davis is here to help you. And like I said, it doesn't matter what your question is. You can put a comment in here or you can call me on my cell phone. Be safe out there, and if you need anything here in the Tampa Bay area, give us a holler. Talk to you soon.